Well, this health crisis globally and even domestically brings a large degree of uncertainty. And so there's uncertainty in the framework around, are our paradigms of strategic growth, channel development, are they really relevant any longer? Can we afford to make the deep investments that we've made in structure, for example, in the way that we did pre-COVID? We see our clients grappling with what is the right capital and distribution model for our business? What is the right survival model right now? How should we access capital? What are our productivity metrics around this? And how do we adapt? And I'm reticent to use the word pivot, but let me just say how we adapt in a meaningful, valuable way. And so I think what's interesting, and we might talk a little bit about the currency of time, but it's compressed so dramatically now that businesses and boards that we talk to and work with and our clients are saying, well, that 3-year play might have worked pre-COVID, but I can't see any certainty around this. I can't tell you what will be in a year, 2 years. What do we need to do to adapt quickly? So a lot of our work and a lot of our work with clients is really predicated on this concept of how do we adapt quickly and how do we effectively, in some cases, survive, recover, regrow. In other cases, how do we keep on our growth trajectory? And other clients, it's around how do we grow our digital footprint and support our physical environment. Of course, pre-COVID, change was all about how many physical stores could be built on, any given landmass. Well, now it's much more about community coverage, digital technology, but the experience, the physical experience. And we also work with clients a lot on the attributes of brand. What is the client's X factor? Who is their real consumer? And that's where we work with all our neuroscientific methodologies to define that, define their path to purchase, and then build out from that. As distinct from the classic way many years ago of product down the pipeline push, those days are gone, I think. I think the key to that is the integration. I think the key to that is around what is your brand proposition and how will customers or consumers find you. Now, if you have less stores, of course, and I say unashamedly, we certainly have a perspective that the physical environment is the heartland of the human experience. It's our instinct to be social. Now, we can't socialize in this environment, in the shopping, the way we did. And so we need to build great capability into our digital interface and integration, to your point. So clients are really wrestling with what is the maximum brand and economic efficiency around that? And what sort of people and capability do we need to have in our business to do this? And who are our advisors and so forth. So it is about making short-term gain. And in many cases, digital is, or online is exactly the way to play it. And that's exactly what's happening. By the way, on that topic, the pendulum will swing back a bit over time. And what we see in the future is a fully integrated retail business to consumer brand, and also quite a lot of blurring of the lines in the marketplace around business to business. I think these sort of classic segmentation models will start to dilute. And it'll all be about who is the best at getting their brand promise and product and so forth to consumers in the most relevant way. I think a lot of rules are starting to break down as well. About 6 to 12 months ago, I was talking quite a lot at various events and to clients around this concept of the divide emanating between shopping and buying. And buying was very much the commoditized, low value, high repetitive, habitual behaviors of consumers driving it. An example of that is the Amazonian type model. And shopping was the great, brand cathedral experience place. And I'm sort of evolving that thinking really to think about the future of retail. And one lens to apply to it for the purposes of today is to think about time. and the way that we as human beings utilize time. So dividing time between time well spent to time well used. So time well spent is really the extension of that buying sort of framework. And it's really saying, I no longer, in time to come, courtesy of technology and all the analytics and the predictive work of AI and so forth, I no longer have to go and do weekly grocery shops. I don't now, for that matter. My Amazonian devices or Alibaba devices, whatever they are, will bring that stuff to me. And actually, it'll predict what I need. So we will take all that concept of time well used and maximize it. Okay, and so then your mind leads to all the various ways that will occur. And already we're kind of at base. If that's the summit, we're at base camp at the moment. If we're there, we know, for example, and a lot of the studies show us that 45% of all buying, if you like, of groceries is habitual. I often ask audiences, when was the last time they changed their favorite brand of toothpaste? Well, as you know, that's all very good predictive data. And I think the other piece around that is the emerging, if you like, of web services, media, technology, and this thing called retail, all becoming this hub. And we're well on the way to that. And I point to the Amazonian model for that. But there are many other global examples. Behavior-wise, these structural changes have been obviously accelerated dramatically. So now we have a range of ways in which we can do business with retail. Now that has a number of factors. I think, for example, with that comes a declining of what's called loyalty, because we won't be building human relationships. It'll still be there, but it'll be loyalty to some other factors. But I think if I take the other side of that paradigm around time well used, time well spent, when we talk about time well spent, that's the onus on retailers to drive up the social fabric of their brand, of their relationship with their customers. And so I think do I think physical retail will be replaced by people with, voice control, retina control, and keyboard control of the world? I don't. I think at the heartland of the future of retail will still be the physical experience. Be much more around time well spent. And I think retailers are increasingly thinking about that in terms of and I'm going to call it brand coverage model. How many shops, what's my online play, what's my digital piece? And the piece around digital is interesting because it really has three parts. It has digital fulfillment, supply channel. It has digital in-store experience, which, by the way, is very clunky. And then it has the piece around digital predictive analytics and so forth, which is, I know Ocular are so strong in. And so we need to be really defining about what it is, at what part of the customer path to purchase that we've actually got, and the retailer's path to market, we really have a good digital solution. One thing's for certain, you can't be a retailer today and not have a digital framework and not have digital investment. You either monopolize the market and you don't need it. Well, that's so rare. So you need those skills. And that's why we're always talking about this whole concept of retail ecosystem, of integration. But then the key to it is, how do I do it? And retailers, to your earlier question, are thinking, well, what business information system do I need? What analytics do I need? How do I build experience into my brand? How do I build fit outs that are entertaining, exciting, this is post-COVID, and link entirely to the digital framework?